the Matrix Movie Decoded, Understanding the Simulation. The majority of the script of this video is taken from an article by Joshi of The Guardian called What If We Were Living in a Computer Simulation? Please refer to the description of this video for my footnotes. Have you ever felt like something about life on planet Earth is not quite right? Okay, let me take that thought a little further. Have you ever suspected that you were not a real person, but instead an extremely sophisticated robot living in a computer simulation produced by an immensely more developed civilization than that which we take to be our own? It is quite possible that I lost you on that last point, but stay with me, because the reality we take for granted is coming under increasing technological and theoretical scrutiny. And if you stick with me to the end of this video, you may learn something new that quite possibly could transform your life. It is a metaphysical debate that has concerned philosophical thinkers for centuries. Thinkers as diverse as René Descartes and Zhuangzi, and even arguably the godfather of philosophy, Plato. It has also been the subject of countless science fiction stories, including most influentially the Matrix film series. In The Matrix, made in 1999 by the Wachowski brothers, humans have been enslaved, paralyzed, and used as an energy source by the advanced machines. But instead of realizing their plight, humans are locked in a false reality, a giant simulation created by their machine masters to subdue them. Here is the plot to the original Matrix movie according to Wikipedia.com. Computer programmer Thomas Anderson, known in the hacking scene by his alias Neo, feels something is wrong with the world and is puzzled by repeated online encounters with the phrase, the Matrix. Trinity contacts him and tells him a man named Morpheus has the answers he seeks. The agents, led by Agent Smith, apprehend Neo and threaten him into helping them capture Morpheus. Undeterred, Neo later meets Morpheus, who offers him a choice between two pills. Red, to show him the truth about the Matrix, and blue to return him to his former life. After Neo swallows the red pill, his reality disintegrates, and he awakens in a liquid-filled pod among countless others attached to an elaborate electrical system. He is retrieved and brought aboard Morpheus's hovercraft, the Nebuchadnezzar. As Neo recuperates from a lifetime of physical inactivity, Morpheus explains the truth. Morpheus and his crew are a group of rebels who hack into the Matrix to unplug enslaved humans and recruit them. Their understanding of the Matrix simulated nature enables them to bend its physical laws, granting them superhuman abilities. Neo's prowess during the virtual combat training lends credibility to Morpheus's belief that Neo is the One, an especially powerful human prophesies to free humanity and end the war. The group enters the Matrix to visit the Oracle, the prophet who predicted the emergence of the One. She implies that Neo is not the One and warns that he will have a choice between Morpheus's life and his own. In the Matrix, the agents interrogate Morpheus to learn his access codes to the mainframe computer in Zion. Supposedly, Neo is killed by Agent Smith. Back in the real world, Trinity whispers to Neo that he can't be dead, because she loves him and the Oracle told her that she would fall in love with the One. She kisses Neo and he is revived with newfound power to perceive and control the Matrix. Later, Neo makes a telephone call inside the Matrix, promising the machine that he will show their prisoners a world where anything is possible. He hangs up and flies into the sky. In essence, the movie The Matrix was a reworking of the philosopher Hilary Putnam's brain in the vat scenario, in which a disembodied brain is subject to the computer simulation and operates in a false reality. And in turn, Putnam's vision was an update to the 17th century French philosopher René Descartes' first meditation, in which he posited the idea that an evil demon had fabricated an external world. According to SparksNotes.com, Many precedents exist for the idea that the real world is an illusion, and the Matrix trilogy is riddled with specific references to philosophers who have entertained this idea. Although the films are meant to stand on their own and create their own set of philosophical questions, the Wachowskis pay homage to these precedents through both obvious and subtle references. One of the most striking philosophical precedents for the Matrix trilogy is Jean Baudrillard's Simulacra and Simulation. Simulacra and Simulation is a 1981 philosophical treatise by Jean Baudrillard, in which the author seeks to examine the relationships between reality, symbols, and society. In particular, the significations and symbolisms of culture and media involved in constructing an understanding of shared existence. One of the most overt philosophical references occurs near the beginning of The Matrix, when Neo stashes his illegal software inside a hollowed-out copy of the book entitled Simulacra and Simulation. Originally published in 1981, Baudrillard's book argues that the late 20th century consumer culture is a world in which simulations or imitations of reality have become more real than reality itself, a condition he describes as the hyperreal. For example, walking and running were not nearly as important as they were in pre-modern societies, but jogging is a recreational pastime, replete with special shoes, clothes, books, and other gear. To take another example, we no longer live in communities where food is produced locally and whole grains are necessarily dietary staple, but we have health foods that enable us to replicate the experience of a peasant's diet. Admittedly, terms such as jogging and health food show that the book is somewhat dated, but the point still holds. Baudrillard argues that the consumer culture has evolved from a state in which we are surrounded by representations or imitations of things that really exist, toward a state in which our lives are filled with simulations, objects that look as if they represent something else, but have really created the reality that we seem to refer to. In such a simulation, the world of simulations increasingly takes on a life of its own, and reality itself erodes to the point that it becomes a desert. Morpheus introduces Neo to the real world by welcoming him to the desert of the real, a phrase taken from the first page of Simulacra and Simulation. Thus, the entire concept of the Matrix films can be interpreted as a criticism of the unreal consumer culture we live in. A culture that may be distracting us from the reality that we are being exploited by someone or something, just as the machines exploit the humans in the Matrix bioelectricity. Now then, are we really living in a computer simulation? For its entire philosophical heritage, the movie The Matrix has been played off by society as perfect cinematic fodder for alienated teenagers. But 4 years after it was released, the Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom wrote a paper provocatively titled, "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?" The paper argued that one of 3 propositions is true. A. The human race is likely to become extinct before reaching a post-human stage. B. Any post-human civilization is unlikely to run a significant number of simulations of its evolutionary history, or variations thereof. C. We are almost certainly living in a computer simulation. Known as the simulation argument, it's a wonderful piece of logical projection. There have naturally been several critiques of Bostrom's hypothesis, some on complex logical grounds, and some arguing that creating convincing answers or simulations will remain impossible. The hypothesis has attracted the interest and attention of many futurologists and Silicon Valley types. The New Yorker reported last year that 2 unnamed tech billionaires have gone so far as to employ scientists to work out how to break out of the simulation. The appeal of the hypothesis and its shocking third option is partly that it's a challenge to the basic foundations of our perceptions, but also, paradoxically, that it plugs into some long-standing human preoccupations. Perhaps the oldest human story is that the world and all we see and know is the product of a creator. So there's kind of a religious element to the notion of a giant simulation, a sense that there is a higher, purer reality, if we could only grasp it. Back in the real world, or rather back in the possible simulation we take to be the real world, technology advances quickly. We are seeing rapid progress in computer science, including the development of quantum computers, whose vastly increased potential capacity would be vital for a large-scale simulation. At the same time, there is continued progress in artificial intelligence, virtual reality, biotechnology, and other areas that would help create more convincing simulations. And we can see that with each new breakthrough in technology, we tend to make better, more convincing representations of the world, both now and in the past. If we assume that these developments continue, and with them our interest in creating simulations of the world, then at some point in the future, 1,000 years, 100,000 years, it's reasonable to assume that the difference between reality and simulation will become indistinguishable, at which point it will mean we have created simulated beings with our own consciousness. But if that is the inevitable outcome of continued technological advancements, unless nuclear war or some other catastrophe intervenes, then it's quite possible, some would say an overwhelming certainty, that it's already happened, and we are the ancestor simulations created by advanced post-human civilizations. That's a mind-blowing thought, but it's one that tech entrepreneur Elon Musk, for example, has explored. His conclusion is that it's a 1,000,000,000 to 1 chance that we are not living in a simulation. Musk, the man behind the electric car company Tesla and SpaceX, which aims to send manned missions to Mars, is not stupid. He's estimated to be worth about $14 billion, and that money has come from the commercial exploitation of technological innovations. He is funding a massive global study of AI. He is a man with his eye firmly fixed on the future and its rich potential. So when he says that he believes we are already living in a simulation, it's not quite the same, say, as David Icke claiming that we are being tyrannized by a secret brotherhood of shape-shifting reptiles. However, rather worryingly, it doesn't sound all that different, and this is one of the problems with the simulation hypothesis, although it's a perfectly logical argument because it's unfalsible, and it gives rise to all manners of possibilities, including Icke's villainous lizard people called reptilians. Now then, if we are living in a simulation, then there is possibility that, like any other computer software, it's prone to glitches. And also, could events like the Second World War be explained by a programmatic failure, or whoever is in control of the simulation, an evil demon in the Cartesian sense? In the movie The Matrix, the machine initially makes a utopian simulation, but the humans don't believe in the reality, so it is adjusted to include all the pain and drama humans associate with being alive. Now, to conclude this video, Nick Bostrom estimates that there is only a 20% chance that we are living in a simulation. But that isn't necessarily good news. As Elon Musk likes to point out, either we are going to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will cease to exist. That is something to consider, since technology is currently heading in the direction of being able to create genuine simulated realities with the use of quantum computers. And today, modern physicists have an ever-increasing understanding of how the universe and reality really work, with their growing understanding about how quantum mechanics really work, including the quantum field theory.
That's the video. If you're into this type of thing, please subscribe by clicking the logo in the top right-hand corner, and it would really help if you give this video a like. Hit the bell icon to be notified when we upload new videos. Thanks for tuning in. One love, peace, and the highest vibration. Yo.